7 Days to Die is a game that has been in development for at least 3 days, and it has had 23 major updates in that time, some of which have actually contributed content to the game. But it's no secret that there's a small section of the community who aren't happy with the current state of 7 Days to Die. There's actually a specific update that can be traced back as the major change of direction for 7 Days to Die in my opinion, and this update was Alpha 17, which came out about 7 years ago. And it's the origin of quite a lot of the major criticisms long-term players have to this very day. But in order to explain how it changed 7 Days to Die's direction, we're going to have to explain where 7 Days to Die was one update prior. So we need to go back an additional year and a half, almost 9 years ago, Alpha 16. Alpha 16 was an interesting version of 7 Days to Die. Progression was governed by action skills. This was a progression system in which you would get better at doing things by doing them continuously over a long period of time. Now we all know the idea of doing things continuously over a long period of time to get better at them is absolutely preposterous, because if that was true, 13 years of development would have resulted in a good game from the Fun Pimps, and 5 years of YouTube would have resulted in a good video from IzPrebuilt. Anyway, jokes aside, you would unlock new recipes by reading schematics, and you would put points into various perks to craft better stuff. Worked well enough. This was after they had patched the spam crafting axes and shovels system that annoying people like to use as a straw man against the entire learn by doing system as a whole. Oops, sorry, my biases are showing. And so are this zombie's nipples for some reason. I don't know, I'm not paid enough to care, man, please just wash your hands. Alpha 16 also featured a wellness system where if you ate good food and drank high quality drinks, you would get increased health and stamina. Or if you used bad stuff, or you died, you would lose health and stamina. I personally really liked this system because it really incentivized actually making the best foods possible and had a better punishment for death in my opinion. We were also able to craft guns in this very interesting modular system, and the only vehicle, the mini bike, was used in a similar crafting system as well. And you could also loot zombies. So what did Alpha 17 do to set us on the path that the game is on right now? Well, we first of course have the new progression system. This is when strength, fortitude, agility, and perception were introduced. And let me tell you, it's not as refined as we have now. I personally would not play Alpha 17 now because this shit is so ass, Batman. Strength governed every single melee perk and melee damage itself. Perception governed every single ranged perk and ranged damage itself. Fortitude governed health and all of the defensive perks. Agility governed movement perks. And intellect governed bartering and crafting perks. It's a really bad system despite how much sense that makes. And to keep this brief, the main issue here is that there's a clear bias towards very obviously needing to prioritize strength, perception, and intellect over everything else because they have all of the perks that govern most of what you do in those 3 trees. And that also heavily reduces the replay value, I think, because you have to do the same thing every time, compared to 2.5, which is a little bit better with that kind of thing now, with the Fallout style build system, which gives you more themed builds that you'd find in an RPG, which are definitely still better than each other, but it's less one-sided now, I would say. So that's good. I still think action skills were better than both of them though. Now for crafting in Alpha 17, you had to take a perk in intellect and find differing qualities of schematics. You had to take the science perk to be able to read the schematics at certain levels. Personally, I kind of think this was bad because the way later updates handled it, where you would take various perks to get better at very specific things and just find the single schematics you needed, was a little bit more flexible and enjoyable. But honestly, anything's better than what we have now with Learn by Reading. Please don't make me go back until they add a new crafting progression, please. There was some other stuff we lost other than just action skills though. We lost the wellness system entirely, which is a major L in my opinion. We also briefly lost the FOV slider. I don't know what that was about, but it did come back at least. We lost that gun crafting system, we lost the vehicle crafting system, we lost the ability to loot zombies, though we did see the first version of the loot bags, but it's just not the same. This update apparently also broke a lot of the mods that were used at the time, which was not ideal. Like obviously every update breaks mods a little bit, but they actually switched Unity versions between Alpha 16 and Alpha 17, or at least so I'm told. I barely understand any of this, but because of that, mods got really messed up. But on the plus side, this did introduce a lot of things for modding that that would be very, very useful in the coming years. So there's some give and take there. They also had yet to take away the classic farming system, but they were only a year away from doing that, unfortunately. You can see that Alpha 17 has had a major change in direction that sort of leads into the various problems we've had in this game since. But it's not all removable some bad stuff. This video isn't just meant to be episode 923 of IzPrebuilt taking a big stinky shit on 7 Days to Die. There is actually some good stuff in Alpha 17. Quests were finally added in Alpha 17, which has been very influential on how the game is played today. We got vehicles other than the minibike. We got the bicycle, the motorcycle, the 4x4, the gyrocopter that we all know and love and fall out of constantly. This was also the first major expansion of the weapon attachment system. We did have the flashlight previously, but we got a lot more attachments and a whole attachment system for almost every weapon in the game now. This also introduced dyeable clothes, which we have since lost. It'll probably come back one day, right guys? Right? Unless the whole selling us $10 cosmetic things turns out to be too profitable and they just sell us 10 different versions of the same skins. Oh god, I hope that doesn't happen. Anyway, we also got the new stealth system, and I'm not 100% sure if this is an upgrade, but it is a major change that massively affects how you play today. We basically used to have something ripped straight out of Skyrim. I genuinely don't know how they get away with this sometimes. 7 Days to Die has been incredibly plagiaristic over the years, and this is one of those things, but it was changed to the new, slightly more original system that we have now. This update also brought a larger inventory, but also the idea of expanding your inventory capacity. Previously, you just had how much storage you had, and there was no like carry weight system, so to speak. With that came a lot of armor mods as well, and this update also introduced a lot of iconic foods, drinks, and drugs that we have now. And there was actually a framework for a drug addiction system that seemed to just go nowhere, but that was kind of cool for like 5 minutes there. Oh, and we had the first echo of the learn by reading system, which I do hate. I have to say that 5 times per video or they won't pay me, but this isn't actually that bad in Alpha 17. You see, what we had here was 30-minute magazines that would give you +1 to the rank of the perk the magazine was associated with, as long as you had the attribute level for that perk. So you could save a lot of perk points by temporarily giving yourself a boost to a perk. Or indeed, you could maybe give it a trial run before actually spending your perk points, which would have been very useful in the incredibly shit Alpha 17 RPG system. There was also a lot of AI changes that are likely the beginning of a lot of issues people have today, and ultimately, all of this, all the stuff that was in Alpha 17 that changed from Alpha 16, that is why I called this video, probably unless I changed the title, the update that changed 7 Days to Die forever, so that I could learn you some history on the game you play for those amongst you who joined after Alpha 17, which statistically I think is a lot of you. I think most of the players who joined this game joined during COVID, which would have been mid-Alpha 18, start of Alpha 19-ish. So most of us missed it. If you found this entertaining or informative as you ate your macaroni and beef round meal, I would appreciate a cheeky subscribe. We're trying to hit 100,000 subs before the end of the year, and if I don't do it, they're going to take me to an alien planet, they're going to put me in a submarine and put me in an ocean of blood. I don't know why they threaten me with this, I don't know what it's referencing, but they're going to do it to me. And if you're interested in finding out what the Fun Pimps are going to be doing to change the progression system again in probably 3.0, check out this video popping up on screen right now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the last one. Oh, see, I switched it up on you. It's metaphysical. You don't know what to expect now.